Hey, what's up, guys? This is Church of Caboose, and welcome back to my corner of the internet. In this video, I want to share with you guys how I am preparing for Season 14, whatever it is that's after the Season of the Chosen. I think it's 14. Anyways, that's going to be this video. Kind of try to do them every now and then to help you guys out with at least how I'm approaching to the next season. Things are different because we already kind of know what the day one raid is like, so we're going to kind of start off first. For those of you that are maybe trying to do Vault of Glass on day one, things I recommend you doing, and then we'll kind of end the video by talking with the more of the casual, kind of not day one raider folks, which is going to probably apply to more of you guys. So I'll keep the day one raider guy portion rather short and sweet. If you do enjoy the video, make sure you like the video as well as subscribe to my channel, you sons of bitches, because it's the right thing to do. Also, comment down below. Let me know if this information is useful to you or not, and why. That'd be absolutely fantastic. So let's go ahead and get on into the video talking about how I'm going to be preparing for a day one Vault of Glass raid. I don't know yet who my teammates are going to be, but I have every intention of trying to pull this one off. Alright, you crazy sons of bitches, going for a day one Vault of Glass clear. Just a friendly heads up, if you're trying to do the world's first race, you have to beat the raid Vault of Glass first, and then go back and do it again with all the challenges. I thought I'd give you guys a friendly heads up. But otherwise, we don't have a whole lot to worry about this go around. Just need to be 1300 gear power, and if you're going for a day one raid, I would imagine most of you guys are already above 1300 power, but if you're not, don't fear. 1300 power right now is kind of like the soft cap, right? Sort of the soft cap, or I guess it's the hard cap. It's not the pinnacle cap, it's the hard cap. So you should be able to do pretty much any activity inside of Destiny 2 and be able to get to 1300 power. So if you're not 1300 power, I would suggest you do that. Otherwise, try to have a variety of arsenal for your weapons. So have shotguns, sniper rifles, have different things like Vorpal weapon, auto-loading, trench barrel. Try to get a nice variety of these different weapons. Also, do your best to have as many exotics as possible. However, if you don't have all those raid exotics or things from the kiosk, here's a couple I suggest that you guys want to go ahead and get. Make sure you try and get Whisper of the Worm. It's quite possible with Atheon that he's going to be a long distance crit boss, and that it could end up being a very, very good sniper rifle to have in an exotic slot. I would also think it's quite possible Eyes of Tomorrow could be rather useful, so hopefully you get some lucky RNG. Otherwise, you got things like Anarchy, which is always good to have. Witherhoard, if you have to use the kiosk, use the kiosk to get Witherhoard. I imagine that's going to be pretty popular, and that's probably really about it as far as those exotic kiosk weapons go. In my opinion, those are kind of the most popular ones. Otherwise, stuff is RNG, so maybe just hang on to a bunch of things that are 1300 power or higher, because what you could do with this raid is you could get into an encounter, find out a particular weapon is very useful, pull that exotic out from collections, and infuse something you don't care about to make that weapon viable inside of the raid. So you want to make sure you got a lot of options and a lot of mods. So if you don't have all the mods, things like Warm Mind Cells, Protective Friends, Powerful Friends, all that good stuff, swing by Banshee every day, buy whatever it is that you don't have. You never know what will prove to be useful. Also, you guys are going to really want to make sure you got plenty of resources. We're going to be burning through tons of enhancement cores because of masterworking weapons, because guess what? There's mods that do things like giving you health when you pick up an Orb of Light, so having masterworked weapons is going to be useful. I would also suggest getting yourself some adept weapons. Hopefully you guys have adept palindrome. I know Vex tend to have lots of void shields. If it's like the last time, the opening to the Vault of Glass has a bunch of void shielded minotaurs, so having an adept palindrome is going to be really handy. Now, why adept? Well, for one thing, if you're able to pull off grandmasters, you're in a better position to have a good time and actually succeed inside of this day one raid. Maybe not the whole raid, but you have a better chance of beating more of these encounters because you've proven to yourself you can do things while vastly underpowered, but also because you can do things like adept big ones. That's a mod that kind of combines sort of the uses of major spec and minor spec and maybe a little bit of boss spec all into one mod, which is going to be really useful when you're underpowered, because we don't know know. Those Minotaurs could be yellow bars. It's also more useful against champions, and we don't know. There could be unstoppable champions, although with it being Vex, it seems more likely to have anti-barrier and overload, or maybe just overload, unless they change up what anti-barrier or barrier types are on what classes of the enemy. All right, with that kind of really sums up the World's Day 1 raid portion. If you're trying to gear up, normally I have a lot to say about things like bounties and whatnot, but now we're going to go ahead and just kind of get into all this stuff for all of the other players. All right, now for all my folks who are just want to hear because you love Destiny, you maybe not trying so much to do the Day 1 raid, you're just like, hey man, how in the world should I be gearing up for the next season of Destiny 2 on, like, I think it's May 12th, I believe is what it is. It's something like that. May 11th, May 12th, one or the other, and it's coming up quick. All right, a couple of things. Normally, I tell folks to really hoard the bounties, and in fact, I'm kind of still doing it. However, Bungie's already been kind of open about doing things where making bounties not quite as useful, like they maybe cap out the experience or limit which bounties are needed. Also, with a lot of the activities, usually we got like a 50 plus power bump, and so getting that experience on your artifacts early is really useful. But now, starting this season, as long as memory serves me right, it's only a plus 10. So if you are at 1310 power, you're going to probably be in a pretty good spot, right? Because most of the really hard endgame kinds of content, like Grandmasters, cap you off at 25 below the power, which means you're only going to be 10 power below that highest content starting off, right? So our current cap is 1310. Our next cap's going to be 1320 gear-wise, and so most likely our next, like, Grandmaster level activity is going to probably be something like 1335, because that is currently 1345, because that is 20 lights higher than, hold on, let's see here, 1320, 13, yeah, that one. So if you got a cap of 1325, it's going to be probably 1345 for the Grandmaster, and you got plenty of time to pull that off, because usually the stuff that people are really worried about are things like Master Nightfalls and things of that nature, so you're going to probably be within that like 10 to 15 power without a huge bump on your artifact. But just in case, I'm going to be hanging on to as many bounties as I can. Now with Guardian games, it's a little bit tricky. I don't want to feed anything with the Hunters and the Warlocks, and so I might just at some point, like in the last week or two, just hop on those two characters just to get bounties and not turn any medals, but we'll see. So if you guys want to stock up bounties, that's going to be really useful. As always, having 3 characters is vastly easier. If you're saying, but Church, I only have the one, it's so much work to do a brand new character. Well, you would definitely be right. It is a lot of work to do a brand new character. However, once that character is caught up to where your best one is at, it's really, really not that bad to do all 3. I work full-time at other jobs, streaming and content creation. It's kind of something I do on the side, although I probably do it more than my wife appreciates me doing it for, and I appreciate her for letting me do it. But, it's doable. So once you got those characters caught up, it's really not that hard to stay caught up. In fact, you can springboard each other. I usually, over the last, I guess, since Beyond Light, have been getting max power within like 2-3 weeks of playing, mostly because of my characters. So if you guys got multiple characters, that's going to be the easiest thing to do in order to take advantage now and make that new character, because there's not a whole lot going on in Destiny 2. So if you don't have characters that are 1310, so max gear power, or don't have all 3 characters, I suggest you guys do that. Other things to do would be what I suggested the Day 1 Raiders do, which is to get things like those exotic weapons, maybe hoard a whole bunch of spoils of conquest, because you never know if the Eyes of Tomorrow or anything else will get added into that kiosk, and it's not the worst thing to have up. So I guess to sum this video up, for those Day 1 Raiders, make sure you got an arsenal. Don't just delete stuff. I have a horrible habit of just deleting prime engrams. I need to actually turn those things in, take whatever they are, and just throw it into the vault, especially if it's not armor, if they're weapons, so that way I've got more options when I come to that Day 1 raid. For both Day 1 Raiders and everyone else, make sure you have the best stuff you can possibly get. Farm out for those exotic quests, get those things all done, because they're just nice to have, and you never know if they're going to end up being useful. And lastly, it does not hurt to stock up on bounties. It may backfire. You may end up having some disappear, or they just don't count at all. But hey, if you're worried about it, turn in the ones that are for Bright Dust before the season ends. And in worst case scenario, you just missed out on a bunch of XP you probably didn't need anyways, because I certainly don't need to be plus 30 on my artifact or hit season rank 500, so I don't really lose a whole lot by just hanging on to those bounties, and so I would suggest you guys do the same. And the very last thing is just make sure you grab all those rewards off your season passes. If you take advice from folks like me who say don't grab everything off the season pass right off the bat, so that way you can use it to power yourself up, you might have a good chunk of rewards left on your seasonal artifact, or excuse me, season pass. I know I do, so make sure you grab those before they expire, because otherwise you're letting Bungie keep some of your hard-earned money in the stuff that you paid for. Alright y'all, thank you all so much for watching. I hope this proved to be kind of helpful. In past videos like this, I've gone really detailed, and I thought this might be a good one just to kind of try and give broad strokes on. So let me know if you guys appreciate this and if this is at all useful. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a great week and happy grinding, y'all.